Well, everybody, I'm back and I'm talking to all of my entrepreneurs in the house. You've been thinking about a business, you own a business, and we have a baller in the house. Miss Camille L. Miller is a three-time best-selling author on soul-driven entrepreneurship. Interesting, right? She's a pioneer of the soul professional movement and a sought-after transformation. I better put my clock on transformational business strategist and intuitive mentor. She's really dedicated to helping soul-led entrepreneurs worldwide to design their businesses that align with their values and their purpose. And it's so what we need in times like these. So if you're an entrepreneur, you've been thinking about it, you know someone who is, make sure you forward this show to them. So Camille L. Miller, welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Constance. I'm excited to be here and speak with you today.
I am too. And guys, you don't even know how many times I got this date and time, or I'm going to say right, because everything is in divine order. But it really shows who a person is on the inside. Camille was so flexible, so kind. I sent her the wrong day, the wrong link, and but it's all divine that we here and now. So let's just dive right in. So tell us a little bit, how in the world did you discover or start this whole soul professional movement?
Well, my background is actually in not-for-profit management. So I started in the not-for-profit world, and the job I had before I created my current company was I was CEO of the Northeast Organic Farming Association, and I later became acting president of the Northeast. But
Wow.
that put me in touch with people that were spiritual. They were eating clean, right? They were using holistic medicine, alternative ways. And that's who I was as a person. But in my professional life, I had this different persona,
Hmm.
right? So it was when I started working in that arena that I started to realize, wow, I show up one way in my authentic self, right? And then a whole nother way in my professional self. So when that job was defunded in 2015, I found myself kind of looking for what is next for me. But I loved that work and I loved creating impact and I loved the people that I had met. So I was like, let me stay more in this alternative arena and start just deconstructing what we've always been taught.
And
And I
what have we been taught
Well, in business
in
specifically,
business?
right? In business specifically, I have an MBA and I got my MBA in the early 90s. But I was taught, and I went to college and everything in the 80s, but I was taught that, we were all going to work for these big companies, and it was a lot
Hmm.
about greed and stuff and the things you wore, and it was a much different time than today, right? But we were groomed really to be CEOs, and very few of us actually become CEOs, right? We were groomed to be these big leaders, but we were never taught to work in service to others. We were never taught to be an entrepreneur, right? Now they have entrepreneurship in school, but it's product driven.
Ah,
It's not service driven. And I have also been a former professor and I taught MBA students. And it was in that role that I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why are we still teaching the same stuff we were teaching in the 80s and not where life is going? There's been a paradigm shift. So why are we not teaching for our future? And that kind of created it all for me. So the soul
I love
professional
that.
movement actually came out of the pandemic because I started to see everyone that was creating businesses and looking for their purpose because when they were stuck at home, they were like, wait, I didn't really know what I was missing because I wasn't home. I was just kind of in the grind, doing the thing on the hamster wheel. But now that I've slowed down, now that I've seen my family, now I know who my close friends are. I think I want to find more purpose and more impact and have more me time. So I think that was the first shift in the world.
I
And it's
got you.
been
I love
shifting
that.
ever since. It's been shifting ever since. People are awakening. there's definitely just been a shift in the world, right? People are really looking for their purpose beyond profit. Now, I always say we still have to make money because money is what's creating your impact, right? Money is how we vote for things in the world, right? What we spend our money on matters, right? So we still have to make money. So I wanted to combine those two things of you can still make money and live in your purpose and do all the things and have your life. Like it's not one or the other.
You can
It's
have
who we
both.
are. You can have both. You
Yeah, I
can
love
live your
that.
purpose. Yeah.
I heard you mention being authentic, and just recently, neuroscientists have discovered that authenticity is the highest vibration. It used to be love, enlightenment, but when you are authentically who you are, you got to be in love with yourself and the world. And
Yes,
so I love it that you said that. And then I remember an old school book, Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow.
absolutely.
And so for folk who are in businesses right now and who are not making any money, Constance, I want to serve people. Camille, I want to help people, but I am not making any money. I know what my gifts and my talents are. What would you say to them? Because from their soul and from their being, they really want to serve. You've seen
Yeah.
those businesses.
Of course, I've
Hmm.
created those businesses,
Me too.
right? Because I want to serve. Then I'm like, uh-oh, I need some money. So it is really hard because they're actually two different energies. So you have to bring those, right? Like I want to serve the world. I want to do so much. So I do this soul professional movement and I meet people all over the world, but none of that brings me money, right? I actually pay for all of that out of my own pocket because I feel that that's my service. But sometimes I have to remind myself that you also have to work to pay the bills, right? So you also need clients, you also need people in your school. And that's actually a different energy. So you have to find a balance of what that is. But your work could be in service to others, right? My work is actually in service to others, right? When I help people design their businesses, I love it. It's my passion, and I'm serving them. So it can be a combination of both. It's just really looking for it. And the first question that I ask anyone who comes to me for a consultation or they're a client, I say, if you were to win the lottery tonight, what would you get up and do tomorrow? Because it's in that answer that you're telling me your why.
Yeah, that's really good. And so it looks like you gotta have passion, soul, purpose, but over here you also have to by design be strategic,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
merger of the two.
Yeah. I mean, a business is a business, right? You still need a design. You still need somewhat of a funnel, although my funnels are not run on electronics, right? My funnel is, have a nice conversation, follow up with the conversation, that's
Hmm.
still a funnel, right? For me, it's building really powerful relationships. You and I met through another relationship,
Good
right?
old
That's how I ended up
Joel.
here. Joel, I'm having lunch with him tomorrow.
Ah,
Well,
tell him I said hello.
I absolutely will. But it's my relationships that have gotten me where I am, right? As I build this movement, I called leaders from all over the world in all different countries and said, I need help. I need to hear your minds. I need to hear your ideas. I'm going to give you my idea, but let's grow this together. Let's be collaborative, right? It's not my movement, it's our movement. It's a call for everybody. And right now we represent 30 countries. So how do we really
Amazing.
hear everyone's voice and make sure that they can get what they need? How do we do that? So I needed other people. It was collaborative, but I do believe that we're moving into this collaborative world, right? It's the ego side of us that we call it masculine energy, but we all have both. It's not about our gender. And it's the ego side that is the I, right? I want to do it. I want to be famous. I, right? But it's the soulful side, which is our more of our feminine energy. That's the collaborative, that's the nurturing, that's the how can I serve and help, right? But we're coming into this paradigm of it. You need both. You need both to run a purposeful business, right? You need the male energy to run the numbers, to have the systems, to have the organization, to that's all male energy, and we all have it and we all need it. And then it's the feminine energy that does more the soulful side, the nurturing, the collaboration, right? But when we put both of those together, it's actually like a beautiful orchestra.
I love that because I know when I started my business 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago now, it was about goal setting, you got to go get it, and action. And I knew that that was just not right for me. And I love the merger of the two and how you talk about, because there's a lot of stuff now about, oh, you got to be in your feminine energy. I'm like, but girlfriend, you got to get up and do something too. I'm
Yep.
sure you've heard that. So it's the egocentric business merging with that soul
Yeah.
side of us,
It's
merging
the
and
balance.
strategically coming together.
Yeah, it's the dovetailing of what I call science and soul, right?
I
It's
love
that
that.
two logical brain. I'm very logically brained. I'm trained in science, math, like that's I'm very logically brained, but I'm so soul led, right? I'm also very intuitive. It's like I had to dovetail who I am, right? But those are also the people I attract because we mirror who we are in the world, right? So those people are coming to me saying, you know, I'm afraid to come out of the closet. I'm afraid to talk about this soulful side. But now I think people are more open to it too, right? So it's how do we dovetail? Because running a business is hard. There is nothing easy about entrepreneurship, right? It's a life decision that we make for long-term freedom. It's not short term. It's not you become an entrepreneur and you sit on your couch and no one's knocking on your door saying, I need your stuff, right? It's a lot of work. It's building of relationships. It's going out there and you don't really take your foot off the gas. But I also teach you got to keep your cup full, right? I don't work every single day. I have no Zoom days. Tomorrow's my no Zoom day. I'm going to meet um, Joel for lunch. Joel's still a business relationship for me, right? I'm doing business, I'm just doing it differently, right?
I love
So it's
that.
still allowing that time. My mornings are very sacred. I get up, I read, I journal, I talk to spirit. I do it every day, right? That's part of my business plan, though, right? Because I need to keep my cup full. I spend 2 hours a day learning new things because I lead a bunch of entrepreneurs. I have to keep on top of it all the time. What is happening in the business world? What do I have to worry about? What do I have to tell people about? Right? So it's that dovetailing of my male and my female. I have
I
them
love
both.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. And for listeners, if you're listening or watching this, I can also say, the spirit and, the scientific, the spirit and the logical, the metaphysical. So it's a merging of the two. I heard you talk about attraction. So how does an entrepreneur who is like in the vibe of really operating out of their soul talk about the law of attraction and clients? How does that flow?
So how are we attracting clients, you mean?
Right,
Yeah.
scientifically and spiritually.
Yeah. So it's magnetic. The law of attraction is actually scientifically based, right? We're putting out a vibration and
Mm-hmm.
we are attracting that vibration back. So anytime you're not getting what you want in the world, you need to look in the mirror because that is exactly what you're attracting, right? When I got out of a bad divorce, I started dating the same people. And I'm like, how is this happening? And my friend's like, well, look in the mirror. It's obviously you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I had to work on my own self-love and my worth before I could attract someone to love me, right? Because I had to love me first. It works exactly the same with client attraction, right? So, what I teach in the business school in my programs is when you can shine your light so bright, everyone sees you. You don't have to go shouting from mountaintops and posting all the stuff and doing all the things because when your light is so bright, others come to you, right?
I love that.
It's like mosquitoes on a summer night with a bright light, right? That they're all going there because they see the bright light. So you just have to shine brighter, but you can only shine when your vibration is high. right? And then you attract that high vibration back. The opposite of that is if you're sitting in fear or scarcity mode, or I never have enough, or no one buys my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or see, I put it out there and nothing happens. That's exactly what you're attracting because you're asking the universe for that. You're saying it over and over. Your vibration is low, and that's what you're getting,
I love
right?
the fact that you take time every morning. I want listeners to hear this, to really nurture your spirit because your body,
Completely.
soul, and spirit, and that is a part of your business. So do you, and you just said you can shine so bright that people, you'll be vibrating in the essence of who you are. People will feel that. So what's your take on entrepreneurs who say, man, I got to post on social media 4 times a day in order for people to see me, to get the
Nope.
followers and get those big ticket clients. What's your take on that?
It's all false. So I didn't even have a website. I literally just put up, and I've been in business for 10 years, and I
Hmm.
literally
I
just put
agree.
up a page about me because people are like, where do I find stuff about you? And I'm like, huh, I should probably create that. I don't know. No one's ever asked. Right. Because all of my work is done through attraction, right? That's what's natural for me. People call, they get on a phone and they're like, how do I work with you? Or I've heard, or I read your book, or that's usually how they come. And sometimes they're just saying hi,
I
right? I read
got
your
to.
book and they connect with me, and that's fine, right? I can invite them to things. I do free business classes on YouTube. They're for everybody, right? I'm like, hey, go check out my work over there, right? Because I put it out for free. One, I love to teach, but people can feel who I am, know who I am before they have to get on a call, right? Because I'm an introvert, I would not get on a call with someone. I'd be afraid of being sold to, right? I know that because that's who I attract. I attract more me, right? So if I'm afraid of that, my people are going to be afraid to that. So I have to put out something that they can get to know me without me knowing them
I
because that's what
like
makes them
that.
feel comfortable, right? So we attract who we are. But for posting your original question, I don't have a posting schedule. And
But
in fact,
I'm
most,
telling the truth. People say, well, for your business to go viral. And I felt like one day the spirit just said to me, well, Constance, people need to go viral on the inside first. The
oh, I
expansion.
like that.
Yeah, that had to come from God because I never would have thought of that. But people are, well, you got to post in the morning, lunchtime, and in the evening. And I just think that is
Nope.
uh-uh.
Yeah, there's actually too much noise out there right now. I've had this conversation. I was actually just writing an article about it. It'll come out next week. Because so many people have brought this up this week, and I was like, this is a thing. Let me flush this out and start
Okay.
writing about it. Um, because of AI, everyone's going to Chat GPT
Mm-hmm.
and throwing stuff on the internet. They're posting 3 times a day. They're writing articles, they're writing giveaways, they're writing books, they're writing emails, but none of it is authentic. It's coming
Yeah.
from a robot without their voice. So everyone's throwing out the same stuff. There's more noise. And you know what's happening? People are shutting down. And people are going, I'm just not going to read any of my emails. I'm just not going to read any of the LinkedIn or any of my Instagram or open up my Facebook. And they're just going, I'm stopping. At least my people, right? Because that's who I attract, right? So we're starting to actually watch our rates go down. It has nothing to do with what I'm putting out there. It has to do with there's too much noise from everyone because of AI. So one of the things we're looking at is how do we tap back in? Do we need to go back to in person? We're
Yeah.
thinking of doing like speed networking where we're matching people up one on one to have conversations, right? So they don't, because I attract introverts. I'm an introvert, right? I'm like, what makes me comfortable? Because that's what I can bring to my people. But no with the posting, like, but if something is authentic, right? So I see this problem coming up. I'm like, let me write an article about this,
Yeah.
right? But I'm writing like a 3,000 word page, which is like a chapter in a book, right? And let me think it through. Let me tell my story of what I'm struggling with right now so people can hear that it's me too, right? Because people look at me and they're like, but I'm not you. I'm like, yeah, you actually are me, because that's who I attract. Right? So, and it's important to share my story that I struggle too. I have dark days, right? All of us do.
Absolutely.
I don't sit on this pedestal and be like, I got this, right? I worry about the bills. I worry about food on the table. I'm a single mom, right? I have all of those things that other people have too. So being authentic is also telling my story, right? But I don't need to post every single day, but I do need one really good story.
Yeah, and people can feel that. So do you believe that AI and Chat GPT, when people post stuff from those tools that writing books and other stuff, that they're not truly authentic, or what's the take on that? And do you believe that when others read it, they can feel that?
So you can definitely tell when AI has written something,
Mm-hmm.
but you can also train your AI to be you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there is authentic AI, right? I use AI. I bounce ideas through things, right? When I'm writing my articles, I go back and forth, and sometimes I talk to him with my coffee. I call him Chad. And I talk to Chad with my coffee and be like, this is what I'm thinking. Help me think this through. And we go back and forth. He's like my business coach, and we'll go back and forth and you know, um, figure out ideas and stuff. So I do use AI, right? If I'm going to write a post, I might write and then say, can you say this better for me? Right? But the idea and all of the pieces in it are mine, right?
And
I
people can
usually
feel that.
write it right. So it's everything is in my voice, everything is what I feel. I don't post something like, can you just write me a LinkedIn post today? Right? No, that's ridiculous, right? I usually tell a client story or something that happened, but I actually write it and I might say, can you say this better? Or how can I say this differently? Is there a word that I can use? Something like that, right? So you're better off drafting your own stuff so it's authentic. And then you can ask them to do it better. And what will actually happen is you'll become a better writer, right?
So true. So
Yeah,
really, you're rewriting the rules of success.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right. But how we define success is different for each of us, right? It used to be more of a flashy, look at my car, look at my house, look at my clothes, look at the purse right? That is not success for me. That could be success for someone else. That's not success for me, right?
Gotcha.
Like mine is about traveling and being calm and, you know, being able to be home with my kids, like that's success to me. Everyone defines success differently, and I think that's really important. It's not about the stuff.
So how does a person who's an entrepreneur make sure their soul is aligned with who they are and what they want to be, do, and have? What does that look like
Yeah, so
in business?
it takes a lot of inner work, but it's really sitting with what you're creating. It's really asking yourself the questions. Does this serve me? Does this make my heart sing? Right? When I'm creating, I could use an example because
Okay.
I just had a great client conversation this morning. Um, um, and she had created some. She's like, I'm going to do this because I need money. And she explained the whole thing for me. And as she was explaining it to me, you could see her getting angry. And I said, you created that from lack. You created it from anger. I said, if you put that out, no one's going to buy it
Mm,
because you didn't create it from a place of love. You created it from anger. And a lot of times we don't have money, so we flash sale, we put stuff out there,
yeah.
and they're like, someone has to buy it, someone has to buy it. I have to pay my bills, I have to pay my bills. No one's buying that stuff because your vibration that you put into it was desperate, right? So that's not in alignment, right? Or
Yeah.
if you're showing up for a program and you're like, it's just not in alignment anymore. Like these three books, when I came up with the concept, it was always a trilogy, right? It's beginning a business, growing a business, and then leaving your legacy in the world. Those are my three books. I knew when I finished those three, it was like releasing something. I was done doing it, right? If I went back and said, oh, I need a fourth, that would totally not be in alignment. My whole body would be in resistance, going, nope, nope, nope. I could put it out there, but it's never going anywhere, right? It's really your body tells you, if you can muscle test, you can literally test it. But your body tells you what's in alignment. If you're in resistance or it doesn't feel good or you don't want to wake up, that's not in alignment. If you no longer want to do it. And it's okay if you've been doing something for a long period of time and you just say, that's not in alignment anymore. I had a podcast for 9 seasons. I actually loved doing it, but I had to sit with myself and go, is that where I'm going? Like, what that takes a lot of my time and the production and all of these things. And I loved interviewing the people, but that's not, it wasn't adding to me, right? And when things don't add, they take away. There is no
I love
neutral,
that.
right? Something adds to your life or it takes away from your life. So I had to say, I have to let that go, right? And that's why I was like, I'll be on other people's podcasts. It's like a whole different experience to be on the other side of the mic, right? So that's just it. I also know that I'm very good and I enjoy being on talking one-on-one with people, and video is usually a very good media for me, right? So that's why I have
Gotcha.
free classes and then I put them on YouTube so people can see me, because that's one of my good things. Like that's when I highlight. So people have things that they're good at. That's what they should stay in. If they're good
And,
at writing, write. If you're good on video, do video.
and so for entrepreneurs right now, I know you have a powerful school where you share all of these wonderful principles. What would you say to some folk who are in business right now? What would be a couple of nuggets, wisdom nuggets around being strategic and designing?
Yeah, I would say don't do a whole bunch of things. I always say that's like going wide, right? I have a lot of coaches like I'll just get another certification in this and another certification in this, and I'll add these
Mm-hmm.
5 more programs. Don't do that, right? You can have like 3, low, medium, high, 3 programs. And I think there should always be a free, right? Because that's how people can learn more about you. So it's being simple and having your signature, whatever, like being really good at one thing. You cannot be really good at 20 different things, and it's confusing for your clients because they don't know what to do. Right. So it's simplify. If you've been doing something all your life and it no longer serves you, let it go. Right. I let go of my books. I let go of my podcast. I also let go of a 10-year membership that was paying my bills because I woke up and went, this isn't where I'm going anymore. I have to let it go or redesign it. So I really just let it go, and I may reconstruct something that's more in alignment of who I am today because I created it 10 years ago. So
And so when you let something go, when an entrepreneur has to let something go of what they've known or been doing or designing or creating for years, how did you deal with fear? How would they deal with the fear of releasing that knowing something better, higher, bolder
yeah,
is waiting for them?
so it's scary, right? My membership was really scary because that was a big revenue stream for me.
Uh-huh.
But I knew that it no longer served me in my heart. It didn't feel good when I thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this is my spiritual side, right? This is law of attraction. This is when I close it down, I'm creating space for something better to come.
That's
And that's
good.
how I ended up relaunching the Soul Professional Movement. I ended up meeting someone and networking, told them about it. And he's like, why are you not working on that? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, how can I help? Let me help you bring that to the world. And it was actually that encouragement. But if I didn't have the space to do it, I couldn't have brought it back,
That's good.
right? When you create space, only good opportunities can present themselves.
I love that. That's really good. So when people say, the young kids say, well, Miss Constance, I'm going after the bag. I'm going after, you know what the bag is, right? And they had to school me on that one. And people see a lot of entrepreneurs, not judging, but a lot of my younger clients are like, I just want to be a millionaire and make $100,000 a month. And what would you say to those entrepreneurs who are really driven by what they've been taught about making $1 million a month or manifesting large sums of money, and that's their focus? Nothing wrong with that, but what would you say to them?
Right. It's it's possible, but you have to do all the other work, right? You have to do the inner work, first of all, right? Because if you're creating or trying to manifest from a place of lack, it's because I don't have it. Now this is what I want, right? So if someone comes to me and they say, I just want to make a lot of money, I'm like, I'm not your coach,
Yeah,
right?
me too.
I work on passion. I work on purpose beyond profit. That is my tagline, purpose beyond profit. We will get you the profit. But if you're not in your lane of joy and your purpose, then you can't do it. A lot of creators out there love creating. That's why they're making the money, right? They're coming from
Mm-hmm.
this place of passion and excitement, and they're showing up, and it's creating them money. But you can't fake it and put out something that's not from your passion and just try to be a creator. Like I could never just be a creator, right? I might like the money, but that's not who I am authentically. It's just
That's
not going to
so
work for
good.
me, right? It's just not who I am. And I don't like people knowing that much about me. Like my close people know a lot about me. And actually, if you've been to my classes, you probably know a lot more than you think. But that's like I share my story in groups, right? I'm not going to share it on the
With
internet.
the
I'm not going
whole
to show
world.
up that way because I don't want to always show up. I don't want to always be on, right? That's not the schedule and what I've created for myself. So I've created a lot of boundaries around myself for
I
my own
love that.
safety. So I fill my own cup. And being a creator doesn't answer that calling for me. So you can be a creator. I have a child who's a YouTube creator, does very well, but boy, they work hard.
Yeah, they
Boy, do they
sure
work
do.
hard. It is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And they're not making the $100,000 months. Like, they have $30 days, and that's a big win. And we have to celebrate. I'm like, keep celebrating it because you used to make zero,
I
right?
love that.
Yeah.
A Bible verse came to me that I hadn't thought about in years. It's in Proverbs, and it says, your gift will make room for you, and you will stand before kings.
Oh, wow. I got
And
chills.
if you paraphrase that, your gift is so powerful that it will open doors for you, create
That's right.
opportunities. And kings to me are just people who love your services, love what you do. And I love the way it's written, your gift will make room for you. And that goes back to what you said at the very
Yeah,
beginning about your gift is so shining, so bright, people will find you. They're looking for, they see your light.
absolutely. You'll see if you got to stay in your vibration, they will see your light. They will find you. That's the law of attraction. They will find you when you are living in your purpose, when you are being authentic.
So tell us about your school. What do you teach? What do you share? What could entrepreneurs or people who are thinking about starting a business, how could they really benefit from your school?
Yeah, so the brand is called Soul Professional, SOUL
I
Professional.
love that.
Yeah. And the school is called the Soul Professional Business School. Now we have the free level, so it's not about, if you're curious and just looking for some basic classes, go to all the free stuff. You can actually show up, live with me once a month. I put it up there. They can go and you can
Hmm.
ask me questions and I'll help you. That's free to anyone who shows up. And the Soul Professional Business School, we have two sides of it. We have a live side where you're actually showing up on Zoom and going to a classroom, which also comes with mentorship.
Okay.
And you can work with me or you can work with some of the other faculty members. I teach what's called the Business Accelerator and Mentorship Program, and it's bringing your business to life. If you're new to business or stagnant in your business or have a created idea but don't know how to bring it forward, that's a good that's a good thing. But it's literally an MBA education. So I am teaching you all the basics of business that I would teach to a college student, from your mission, your vision, your unique
Love
value
that.
proposition, your marketing, we teach you how to introduce yourself. We teach you qualifying questions for your clients, your follow-up programs, your client mapping, everything. Everything from soup to nuts, all the way to launch, from concept to launch. Um, and then there's an online um, classes too, which we're working with faculty and creating more. So depending when the show goes out, by September, you'll see a lot more classes, a lot more stuff. We beta tested with most of my classes, you'll see there now.
I love that.
But we have a class called Magnetic Client Attraction, which is all self-paced. And corporate to calling is one of my favorites. It's called Corporate to Calling, Manifesting the Life and Business of Your Dreams in 15 minutes a day.
I love that.
And
Though that sounds very intriguing.
yeah, it's a 28-day class, and it really makes you start to assess what your dreams are. And you could already have a business, but it will make you rethink, right? Or if you're in a corporate job right now and you're like, I don't know, or you just lost the job, it's a great starting block to bring out your dreams. Like it's an assessment of what lights you up? What do you not want? Right? I don't want to work
Yeah,
nights. I don't want to work weekends. I want to travel, and getting that all out on paper. And I should say, you always think differently if you write with a pen than if you type on a computer. So write with a pen whenever possible. But you do this entire assessment over 28 days, and I pull it all together for you at the end of,
sounds so
what that could
intriguing.
look like.
I
Yeah.
love. Let listeners know, what is your website? How can they contact you? How can they get your books? All of the above.
Yeah, thank you. So it's Camille L. Miller. You can go to CamilleLMiller.com for my personal work. You can go to Soul, professional.com for the movement, for the business school. You can also find my stuff there as well. But everything is in one place. They can network with us. They can take advantage of our free, and they can also sign the Soul Professional Movement Pledge, which is, pledging to be a good global citizen in the world and collaborate with others.
I love that. So in closing, give us one powerful takeaway. Come on, Camille, give us something that we're gonna think about. What's your
Yeah.
mic drop for people who are watching or listening to this? I
Wish I
know
knew
you
this
have
was,
so many. Give us one.
yeah, I wish I knew this was coming, but I would say the world needs your gifts,
Mm,
right? Every single person in this world is given a special gift, a uniqueness that no one else can compare, and nobody can be you in this whole world. So the more unique you are, the more profitable you can be in a business. Yeah.
powerful word.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Stay unique.
Wow, powerful. That's exactly what the spirit wanted you to say. How many of y'all felt that? I don't know if you drive in your car in Europe, you may be on the bullet train, wherever you are, you know that that is nothing but the truth. And so I want you to listen to this over and over again. Visit her website, take advantage of all the freebies that she has, and then sign up for some of her classes, her courses. And I'm just so honored that you made a decision to come on the Think, Believe, and Manifest talk show. So
Thank
you're
you.
the best. You're so smart. Make sure you thank Joy for me. And
I will.
everybody, as I say every week, you are the creator, editor, script writer, designer, and producer of your own day, of your own week, of your own life. Make it happen.